Breathe Again. Okay, Breathe Again. Young Living makes a Breathe Again roller, just like this Thieves roller. Comes like looking like this. Breathe Again is really good respiratory support. So before you're working out, or if you're fighting some crummies. Okay, Blue Tenancy. This oil, sometimes oils come in these packages. I think it's like a FDA regulation thing. I don't totally know. Depends on like what the oil is, but expensive essential oil that you can buy. Rose essential oil. So rose has a cajillion benefits to it, but skincare being one of them, hormones again. I have to say things that are compliant, so I can't always give you guys like super specifics about the stuff. You can get added to all of our team's Facebook groups, and we have so much education about essential oils, about natural wellness.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tuesday, February 16th, and we're going to do an update on Audrey Roloff because she is getting destroyed for giving medical advice without being a doctor related to an issue for women that nurse their children. And people are super outraged because the topic in which she is sharing can lead to very serious side effects and potential serious consequences for the mother. If you follow Audrey Roloff, you know that she is an oily mom. The moms that think that oils fix everything. Even though oils are not FDA approved to treat or cure any illness, oily moms believe that using essential oils will literally help you do anything, will fix anything, are the ingredient for everything. The fact of the matter is that if they worked as instructed, or if they work the way that they say they did, they literally would have an FDA approval and drug companies would be swiping it up and making it into medication. They don't, and so they work more like a placebo, and companies like Young Living, who Audrey sells oils for, have gotten into a lot of trouble over the years for acting like their products can actually cure people, because literally they don't. Audrey uses her Instagram to sell essential oils, and she actually just won an award for being the most annoying blogger to shill an MLM. Young Living is an MLM that not only is harmful in the products in which they sell, but also in the fact that it's a predatory company that preys on individuals to come into the pyramid, and people at the top of the pyramid are the only ones that make money, and 96% of the people that enter into a pyramid scheme like Young Living will lose money. In fact, Young Living is being sued for running a pyramid scheme at this present time. And if you ever want to learn some history about the founder of Young Living, just Google Gary Young and what happened to his newborn baby. It's pretty scary. Also Google all of the clinics he attempted to open and were shut down. Gary Young, who is no longer alive, was in the world of MLM one of the biggest charlatans that pushed miracle cures, and he hit jackpot gold when he struck it with Young Living. Now, the problem is that people have bought into these products believing that they'll do all of these things, and they don't. And then they also are scamming people because anyone that enters into Young Living's pyramid structure typically loses money. Not only that, there's a lot of side effects that can happen from using these products, and an increase in calls to poison control. Yes, that has happened. The MLM structure of it is bad enough, but when these reps like Audrey utilize their platforms to try to cure something that literally requires medical intervention, it can lead not only to someone getting really sick, but it could potentially cause someone from passing away from not seeking medical attention. So why are people so angry at her? It comes down to her giving advice about how to treat mastitis. What's mastitis? It's a clogged duct in your breast that ends up getting infected. So when you're breastfeeding, women can get clogged ducts. Now, clogged ducts can come out and work themselves out. You can massage them, you can put compresses on them, you can feed until you're empty, you can pump. There's so many ways that you can work out a clogged duct. A clogged duct does not always turn into mastitis, but when it becomes mastitis, it becomes very serious, and it can get very serious very fast. Now, Audrey claims that she has the miracle cure for mastitis, and this is actually why people are so mad at her. On Instagram, she provided a list of remedies, which effectively means that this will cure this, and this is what she says. Homeopathic medicine must-haves you get at Whole Foods in supplements section: belladonna 30Cs and phytolacca decandra 30Cs, which are probably 2 supplements. She also says that lavender and tea tree essential oil is diluted and fractioned coconut oil. Oregano is also good, but super strong, so use others first. Dilute heavily and only apply to the sides of the tissue near armpits after feeds. Now, oregano is an extremely potent oil, and it can actually cause burning on your skin. So utilizing oregano and applying it to your skin is actually a really serious thing to tell people, and it's a hot oil, so you don't typically want to apply it to your skin. So I saw that right off the bat and I was like, yikes. Sunflower lectin for thinning your milk if you're getting mastitis from clogged ducts. Mastitis is usually from a clogged duct, and it's bacteria that forms in the clogged duct. Cabbage leaves helps with infection fighting. That's actually not true. Double probiotic. I take Young Living Life and also Young Living multigrains. So her remedies for mastitis are all coming from Young Living. Have you noticed that? And a couple things from her products at Whole Foods. All of these are not drugs, and none of these are approved for treatment of the actual infection that is bacterial mastitis. Do not eat sugar or drink alcohol, but do drink tons of water. Sleep and rest as much as possible at onset of symptoms. First of all, sugar and drinking alcohol have literally nothing to do with antibiotics or with the bacteria. Sugar and drinking alcohol will not stop a bacteria from growing in your body, and sugar and alcohol literally will do nothing, but it's a huge thing that they say in the world that, sugar breaks down your immune system. So if you avoid those, somehow it's going to improve your immune system. Whatever. Aged garlic pills helps with infection fighting, but also can increase supply, so be careful. Again, if garlic worked to fight an infection and to fight a bacterial infection, the drug companies would use garlic and put it into a pill. Heat before feeds for a few minutes. Gentle massage in a hot shower. Ice after feeds to bring down inflammation, but only a short time. Feeding in different positions, and try to avoid Tylenol as the fever helps your body naturally fight the infection. Okay, have you ever had mastitis? It is painful, very painful. And the most common things that a doctor will tell you to take are an anti-inflammatory or a pain reliever like Tylenol or ibuprofen, as well as prescribe you an antibiotic. So if you actually have bacterial mastitis, any of this advice could be extremely dangerous. And if you followed these directions, you could end up in a world of pain. Not only that, but in a world of trouble. So according to the Mayo Clinic, the proper treatment for mastitis would be antibiotics, which it says if you have an infection, a 10-day course of antibiotics is usually needed. It's important to take all of the medication to minimize your chance of reoccurrence. If your mastitis doesn't clear up after taking antibiotics, follow up with your doctor. And then it also says to take pain relievers. They will recommend an over-the-counter pain reliever like Tylenol or ibuprofen. So they say that home remedies that you can try to just relieve the discomfort. Now this is the discomfort. You can't cure the infection with home remedies. It says avoid prolonged overfilling of your milk and before breastfeeding. Apply cool compresses or ice packs to the tissue. Wear a supportive bra and rest as much as possible. Obviously, if you have an infection and you have a fever, you are sick and you need to rest. pretty basic, right? They also say that while you're trying to manage the discomfort, they say call your doctor, write down the symptoms that you're experiencing, make a list of all the medications you're taking, write down all your key medical information, write down your personal information, write down any questions to ask, and then they have questions that you can ask your doctors on whether or not it can clear on its own, stuff like that. They also, so here are the symptoms that they say of someone who has it, and it can appear very suddenly. And it says tenderness or warmth to the touch, swelling, thickening of the tissue or a lump, pain or burning sensation continuously while feeding, skin redness, often in a wedge-shaped pattern, generally feeling ill, and 101 fever or higher. Complications of it not being treated, it says mastitis that isn't adequately treated or that is due to a blocked duct can cause a collection of pus or abscesses that develop in your tissue. An abscess requires surgery generally for drainage. To avoid this complication, talk to your doctor as soon as you develop signs or symptoms of mastitis. She's claiming you can get rid of it by doing these things, but the truth is that if you really have an infection and you were to follow her advice, you could end up with an abscess, which could require surgery. You could also end up in the ER with a very high infection. Untreated infections, if they go on for too long, can cause a lot of damage to your body. Not to mention, mastitis can also mirror the symptoms of certain forms of breast cancer. So allowing something like that to go and not talking to your doctor is incredibly irresponsible for her to suggest to anyone. People were reporting her on Reddit, and they were going through and reporting the post. And the comments that people were making on the Reddit post were furious. She's posting misinformation. If you want mastitis advice, they need to talk to a medical professional, not some random mom from TV. I'm reporting this on IG. This is another person said. The thing about mastitis is that you feel so bad very quickly, and it rages through your breast tissue and can lead to serious issues. It's possible not to clear it up right away, but the infection would surface again and you'd feel sick again, and that you would not be able to function. I don't think that this is what's going on with her. Sadly, I think this is the way for her to make herself feel like she has the center of attention. And someone said, totally agree. I know my experience, and I could tell the clogged duct was making me feel exponentially worse very quickly, and I worked really hard to clear it before it turned to mastitis. I was shocked by how different it was from other ongoing illnesses as I had ever had. And another person said, what a load of BS. Some of this might help with a clogged duct, but not mastitis. I went to the ER with an almost 105-degree fever when I had it, and I was barely lucid. Another person said, I woke up with it once and woke up shivering and could not stop. I had a high fever and ended up in the ER and left with strong antibiotics. The other option that was let it go and end up with a breast abscess. There's no way she had mastitis and it cleared up with this nonsense. And someone responded, exactly what I thought. She has never ever had mastitis. Probably had clogged ducts, but definitely not mastitis. For me, it went from 0 to hundreds. Went to bed fine, woke up shivering, throwing up, and with crazy high temperatures. She's a criminal giving these tips. As you can see, people are furious with her, and they began reporting her Instagram story, which the stories go away after 24 hours. So I nursed. I have never really talked about my nursing journey, but I did extended feeding. I actually nursed until my son was almost 4. I was that mom. And I will say this, that what she's describing to me does not sound like mastitis. It sounds like a clogged duct. Clogged ducts are very, very painful, but you can take care of them on your own if they don't create infections. But once an infection hits, there's literally nothing you can do to stop it from going. Kind of like if you get a thrush infection. So there's 2 things that happen with breastfeeding. One is mastitis, which is a bacterial infection, and another one is thrush, which is a yeast infection. So moms and children can end up passing yeast back and forth from mouth to the nipple, and it causes painful cracking and painful discharge and just pain all over on the tissue as well. So that also will not clear without going to a doctor and getting an antifungal. Here's the thing about trusting people on Instagram. Don't. If you're dealing with an infection, always consult your doctor. Make sure that you contact your OBGYN or your family practice medicine. Never substitute homeopathic remedies for antibiotics. And always remember that if you are having a fever, the last thing you should do is ignore your symptoms and not take Tylenol and not call a doctor. A fever is a sign of an infection, and if you're having pain with your breast, you need to go to the doctor. What do you think about her selling this miracle cure, and what do you think about people being outraged by it? And how will we stop this kind of misinformation from being so actively shared on Instagram and these platforms when we know that these products are not FDA approved? Another option people could do is they could report her to the FDA for selling her products as though they're drugs when they're not. So anytime someone runs an MLM, if they're providing you medical advice that is not what's on the bottle, there's not proper dosing on the bottle, it's not a drug, that can also be reported to the FDA. And they can actually get in a lot of trouble. She should know better. Young Living has gotten into so much trouble for it. Look up FDA warning letters for Young Living and you'll see all about it. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye.